All right, we're back at the workbench. Summer is sort of peeking around the corner, so you're going to have to deal with air conditioning noise. And my gout is flared up, so we're doing desk jobs. So today, I'm going to work on something, or at least experiment with something. Back in the day, I used to have a Nissan X-Trail, and if I can find some stock footage or photos, I'll put it up here. Anyway, I modded the thing to the hilt, like you might expect, with underbelly plates and all sorts of stuff like that. Um, Amongst that, I also had a touchscreen sound system. Now, that vehicle, when it reached the end of its useful life, it got loaned to Tinkerman Mick for quite a while and then loaned to somebody else that desperately needed it until it eventually got scrapped. One of the stipulations I had with the people that scrapped it is I said, if you get rid of the vehicle, just give me the sound system back. And they did. This is this Sony unit. I don't think they gave the connector back to me, which is going to make a bit of a problem. But I do want to do some experimentation with this thing. I don't appear to have an audio connector for power connector for it, which is going to make life a little difficult. They did give me the remote back, which is nice. So that's good. All right. So we'll see what we can do with this without the connector for now. I may have to go and purchase one. All right, so this particular model was the mid-range one. I think I got it on special, but it's the XAV-63. It has mystery connectors that I never did work out before. I think that's an external unit. This is your obvious, your normal connector for all the audio stuff. You have rear subs, auxiliary in, got reversible light wire. You've got video in and out, cameras, auxiliary video in, all the extra stuff that was kind of handy. This little thing here, which I think is an auxiliary audio in 3.5mm jack, but it had a lot of options. I'm going to see if I can find the right pins to power this up. Otherwise I might have to duck down to Super Cheap and grab something. But I think I'll probably lift the lid off this before I get that far. Okay, so we've got the top up and we can learn a few things. And yes, I did connect those, or disconnect them. This goes through to the front panel, which looks like this is probably the CD audio. That'll be left and right with the ground. This is obviously digital audio straight into the amplifier board. The amplifier is separate. I see a RAM chip here and a system on a chip there. So I'd say most of the smarts is happening there. So that means removable storage is probably not in here, which is not surprising. I don't really want to disconnect that ribbon cable here yet. But I see, yeah, there's capacitors there. No bulgy caps. It's doing pretty well. I'm going to see if I can connect to the power. And yes, there is a teeny tiny little fan in there. That's good to know. So I'll see if I can find the power rails in here and connect to them directly. All right, so I've investigated here. I can technically access the back of them if I pull this I/O slot out. It is probably conceivable, but I think for testing purposes, what I might do is rip the fuse out, connect the ground, and put a spade terminal in the hot side of the fuse. That should give it power, provided I'm on a fused input, which this little test board here has fuses on the 12-volt side. So we might try that. Okay, we have things reassembled, and I did try to backfeed through the fuse. I had a very momentary short. Read a lot of current on the meter here, so I stopped immediately. I don't smell anything. It smells like exploded component, but I'm not keen to try it again. I may just purchase myself another Sony audio connector here. It's just going to be way easier.
72 hours later.
Okay, so the sun has come out. The AC's back on. $20 later, we have what should be a Sony ISO connector with some other connections on the back that I can make use of. With luck, this should be the right one. Let's hope. Oh my god, it's not. It's the wrong one. After all of that, it's not the right bloody one. Okay.
Many months later.
Okay, so we're back to this project, finally, and something came from the United Arab Emirates with a 16-pin plug, because I couldn't find one of these anywhere to save my life. Hopefully, this fits. And indeed it does. Now we find out if I destroyed it by trying to put power in the wrong pins. Right, excuse the air conditioning noise, as summer has hit. If I've done it right, the noise cancellation will have done to deal with it. Now we have black here for negative, yellow for positive, and red for accessories. It should hopefully work. Let's use the right tool for the job, why don't we? Right, these two off memory are going to go together because reasons. This one can get there. Yeah, connectors here. Currently not powered up. Okay, we're going to spin things around before we connect the power. I'm going to watch my current meter over the side here. And we're going to flick the switch up the top here. Can we go back here a bit? Here we go. Ready? Here's my finger up here. Let's watch. Oh, ha! I didn't entirely kill it. We'll see what the audio output says, but it does fire up. Right. Wonder if there's a disc in there. Okay, I know. Okay. Oh, and I forget, it's a touchscreen. Right. Can we eject that? Initial setting. Oh, it's been in factory settings. We don't want Chinese. Latin characters. Yeah, Latin, I guess, is what they call that. Okay. Listening position, front left, front right. Rear sub out. Make it a sub out. Front right. Okay. No, that. Touch down there. Alright, did we eject that? I guess we'll put some speakers into it in a bit and see if it works, but I'm happy to see this. So actually going back over the marks I made here, I wasn't too far off. Pretty sure these two were the top, and that was positive. I'm going to remark those now that I've got it worked out. You know, I was looking at this and going, you know, with the right power supply, I might replace that. And being as I pulled the epoxy speakers off and put these ones on, I figured it might work, but I'm like, hey, why don't I just put it up in here? I went, I wonder if there's enough room to put that in there. So I thought, let's take this. It fits exactly in there. It's like I made it for the spot. That might be exactly what I do soon. Okay, so I found a little power supply here that's good for 8 amps and 14.5 volts on the 12 volt side. Although inside this internally they're all on the one bus anyway. The wire gauge kind of matches the wire gauge in this, so I don't think we're going to be running this at full volume all the time. Firstly, I do need to see if this little supply works and doesn't let its magic smoke out. So we'll look here. Oh, yeah, no, we have 12 volts out. The fan's just not doing anything until it gets warm, I guess. Alright. Yep. Fan no move. Okay. I might see if the fan actually works, but yeah, this could be a good contender for power supply. Alright, we're going to use our little test probes here and see if we can get 12 volts into the fan and see if she works this way. Do 12. I've got the shakes today. Yep, okay, so the fan does indeed work. It's got a thermostat control here, so that's alright. And yes, all the 12 volt lines all come back to the same spot on it. So I think we'll be alright. Now, I'm going to solder these connections. I had that thought of like, wait, I'm hard wiring everything together. Then I realised the plug comes out. So I can always unplug it. See if the old Weller iron is going to come to the party today. With a magnetic tip. There we go. It's an old faithful. I had this one a long time. This one my late brother found in the back of a wrecked vehicle. I've been through a car crash. And refurbed it, put it back together. It's run ever since, and I think it's still like on the tip we put on it then. Unlike these Chinese irons with tips you get through about every week. This one's done about 20 years. Steel coated copper tip with magnetic regulation. Right, let's see if we have made a profound mistake or not. Find IEC lead. We will plug in, turn on, it fires up. Alright, power supply connected, speakers connected, pin out in the background here. I've got it to the front and rear. oh sorry, the front left and front right. The rears I think you can set to sub out. I think you can turn them off. Hopefully I don't destroy the amplifier by running nothing on those. I might put some load resistors on it. I don't know. We're going to plug in and see what happens. Alright, so for record, on my desk design, this little gap here is designed as a cable gantry, and there's a lot of stuff hiding in there. There's all manner of cables. They're all hidden away nice and clearly. I'm going to stick my unit in here and actually might make it look a bit neater. I normally keep torches up here, but I might find a new place for them soon. Anyway, this should slot straight in here. You know what? I could be mistaken for having designed it to fit this, except a little uneven gap there. I can probably shim it in there and make it stay. Let's turn the switch on here. And it's going to fire up. See if we have some audio. I think we're going to feed it in the auxiliary port on the front. I might find a right angle connector for it. I heard beeps. So rear is out sub, driving position front right, Latin characters. I'm hearing beeps, but it's only coming out of that one side. So we'll find out what's going on with it. I'll get some audio happening. I'll appraise you of what happens then. Okay, we have audio out of both speakers, just more over this side, or sort of more on this side, on the left than the right. So we might change the listening position. I might just change the balance, which I've got to remember how to do that. Anyway, we'll work it out. Okay, we are working. I have auxiliary in. I'll just get a little right angle hook for this later. Doing all right. I've got rear auxiliary, front auxiliary. That's okay. Now I need to find menu. Let's go top. Now we should be able to go menu here somewhere. Settings. Sound. Balance fader. Okay. That's better. That's better. Okay, we appear to be working. Subwoofer's fine. Should be able to go back. We should have an equalizer in here as well. Alright. Now we should have custom. And we can tune. Cool, I can adjust things. I'm going to screw with this for a little bit.
20 minutes later.
Alright, this is going to work well, and I've got a good range of volume. That's about average. These tweeters aren't quite performing as well as I'd hoped. Had to bump the high end up a little bit. But I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, a little bit of heat shrink under there just to compensate for the gap. She's in nice and firmly now. And I can play videos on this if I really want to. So I can actually not have all this extra junk on at night when I want to have something on. That'll be pretty cool. Next step now is to clean all the dust up from here. This does actually mean I can clear a lot of stuff up along here. It'll be good. Alright, so next part of this. Does the remote still work? It has a remote. Does not. I think it might be battery. We will figure out how to get the battery out with no fingernails. Okay, we did eventually get the battery out, which is a CR2025, which means they're slightly thinner than the 2032s. And this one has 0.2 volts. I'd say the battery's flat. I might have another one of these that's still got a little bit of charge in them. I've mostly got 2032s here, which I don't think are going to fit. We can try. We'll see. Oh, hang on, a 2032 might actually fit. Give me a moment. All right, we have the remote open. Membrane looks okay. It's a plastic. Now, when you're opening these things, sometimes the snap clips can be counterintuitive. A lot of people would be tempted to try and get their spudger tool in here and pry that way. That snaps off the clips. What you actually need to do is take this top, stretch it outwards away from the body so it lets the snap clips go. Took me a lot of years and a lot of snap clips to work that out. Right, we have 3 volts on the variable supply. It's isolated at the moment. We're going to hook up to the positive there. Before we turn things on, let's just double check. Yes, the positive is on the outer edge. That's that there. Oh, these are going to pop off. Let's figure that out first. Okay, we have things propped up precariously. Let's push the membrane pad, see if we get a flashy light. We do have flashing lights. That means the remote probably works. Okay, that's good. It's probably a battery issue. So let's see if we can hook a battery up to this. Now we're going to do same test with battery in place. We are flashing with a battery in place. Okay, so this appears to work. It probably just needed some disassembly. So we'll put it back together and see what happens. Okay, now we're reassembled and I've turned the lights off. Let's have a look down here. Can we see? We can see some infrared flashing there. Bit dim, and this battery is probably not new. Let's see if it works. Alright, let's see if I can do menu or an OK or something. Is it going to see it? I'm not sure where the receiver was on this actually. Can we turn it off? Okay, it acknowledged off. Okay. That's good. So it is acknowledging stuff. I will play around with what does work and what doesn't. Do we have volume up? Let's go. Okay, so it's going back to like demo mode. Let's go menu. Do we have on? I'll play with it. I never really use the remote. We'll work it out. Okay, so she works. We're going to go over to auxiliary here somewhere. The remote does work. What did it have to go? I got memory. Hang on. Alright. So it works very nicely now. It's all set up the way we want it, and I can use this as a thumbnail and go, hey, car audio system for my desk. In fact, I might even go back a bit and do that and attract a bit more attention. I have a policy with my videos that I always try and use a frame from the video as the thumbnail, so as to not be deceptive, and it's something I have a bit of a bugbear with about videos too. Anyway, we're all done. We'll see you in another video. Hope you found it interesting.